Game development can kind of be simplified into 4 steps: prototyping, planning, programming, and publishing. These are my 4 Ps of game development. I don't follow them religiously, but they do help along the way. First off is prototyping. This involves coming up with a basic idea and then creating a small project to test it out. This could be something ranging from an art style and/or a game mechanic to see if your idea is worth putting time into. One way to check if your idea is worth putting time into is to see if other people like it as much as you do. To show this off, we'll be using the laser-based puzzle mechanics from my game Evernight. The game itself has 3 major tools: redirect, reflect, and recolor. Each one of these tools has an important place in the laser-based puzzle games. The only important one, though, that we're going to be using for this example is the reflect. The reflect acts like a mirror, bouncing the laser off of its surface. This will come in handy throughout the puzzle, because in this puzzle, there are 3 stationary mirrors and 1 movable mirror. This level in particular is very important because it's one of the many rushed levels of Evernight. This room is specifically built to show that some mirrors cannot be moved and others can. So now, knowing what the level is intended to teach, let's see what people thought about the level and actually what they learned.
I like puzzle games.
Richter, let's go.
Okay.
Ooh, that looks like a sudden thing.
Oh, now what the? Alright, so we need to collect these. Alright, this is a tricky. Oh, I see what you're doing. Why don't we turn this little fella down here?
Now turn these two. Okay, this one's unturnable. I bet you this one is turnable though. Never mind.
Ish. Now, where the f***'s the joystick to this? Alright, what's down here? Okay, now you're gonna have to try to get it to that door!
Alright. Oh, that was quick. I don't know what I did, but I did something.
Let's try this. No, joystick. Anywhere!
Come on! Maybe we just need to turn this one a bit more. Yes.
Alright, we're gonna try this. Come on. Oh! Okay.
Having a player confused and not learning the intended bit of information from the level is not a good sign. And with this feedback, I know exactly what I need to change without completely rearranging the level itself. Before making large changes, I'm just going to change one small thing to see how it changes people's interaction with the level. And the small change is this singular wall, so that players cannot walk through the area that the laser goes through. This should give the player an easier time digesting the problem. It introduces the puzzle from the side instead of allowing them to walk into the middle of the puzzle. This, in theory, should fix some players' confusion. Now let's see what a player does now.
Is it gonna pick up this torch?
I love the detail though. It's a bit too quiet.
Oh, here's the... got one of the shards. That's pretty cool. I guess I could reposition this one, couldn't I?
Oh look, there's the last sun shard. Alright, so this is apparently supposed to be easy.
Boop, boop, boop. I gotta move this, yep.
Oh, when they have the little spinny thing, that means you can turn them.
Alright. I think you should make some a little bit harder. Cause these are kinda easy.
Oh wow, it's all set up for us already. Is that why it's so easy? Oh, wait a minute. Oh. What time is it for you? It's currently around 10. What? That was it? Are you kidding me?
But what? Oh. There you go. Yeah, you should make make some of the levels a little bit harder.
I got such shaky hands. Stage complete. That's so cool. Wait, that's a really cool mechanic.
Now, that's a better sign. Another improvement I can add to this puzzle is by changing the location of the movable mirror to the back of the room, I can reduce the amount of aiming a player needs to do to get the outcome that I expect. Another thing to consider is to improve the controls of the mirrors. The mirrors right now point themselves in the direction that you're holding the trigger of your controller in, but I can improve this by adding a dragging system. The dragging system works like how a normal mouse works on a computer. It adjusts the rotation of the mirror by adjusting it based on the last position it was in, instead of completely erasing the original position. There are plenty of improvements you can make to your prototype, but at some point, you need to start planning. Now let's turn your prototype into a game. One essential element of planning is creating a game design document, or a GDD. A GDD is a document that outlines every aspect of your game. It's like a blueprint for your game that you can refer to throughout the development and ensure you're on track. When creating your GDD, you should consider the following: your game's target audience, the story, characters and setting, gameplay mechanics and controls, level design and progression, art style and visual design, and audio and music. Or just don't. I won't judge. Let me kind of explain what that all means using a VR game called BoneLab. It was made in 2022, and its target audience was primarily targeted towards people who enjoy first-person shooters in a physics-based virtual reality environment. The story, characters, and setting take place in a research lab called MythOS, where you control an outcast trying to escape death, exploring various experimental worlds, and encountering different characters, such as Jimmy, who gives you a device to use different avatars. The gameplay mechanics and controls allow you to interact with objects in a physics-based environment. You can change your avatar using the device from Jimmy, which affects your in-game body proportions and ability to use items. The avatar you use can affect your size, strength, and speed. The level design and progression has the game divided into smaller levels that each focus on different mechanics. Each level explores different themes, such as go-karting and first-person shooting. Each level is designed to be challenging in its own way. It forces you to use your problem-solving skills in the physics-based environment to progress through the game by unlocking avatars and using each avatar to solve a different puzzle. The art style and visual design attempts a realistic style with a detailed environment and character models. The environment ranges from a research lab to a fantasy setting, providing a variety of visual styles. The design is optimized for virtual reality on lower-end devices, but still holds up with attention to detail and immersion in mind. The audio and music will respond to the player's actions, like if you spun a wheel or push somebody off a cliff. For example, when you put away or take out a weapon, the game will notify you by playing a sound to confirm that you have removed or put it away successfully. I've greatly simplified my examples, and when you put together your GDD, you should go into great detail about most of your planning. And be sure to find plenty of pictures, whether it's from online sources or creating it yourself, to keep everybody on the same page. I know that's probably very overwhelming, but once your GDD is done, then you can start the programming.
To help you remain tranquil, smooth jazz will be deployed in 3, 2, 1.
When I say programming, I don't mean coding. I'm talking about program management. This is the part where you take your plan and create a roadmap for your game. If you don't know, a roadmap is a visual representation of your plan that outlines all the tasks and milestones in order from start to finish. It'll serve as a guide for your team members, providing them with a clear understanding of the project's scope and objectives throughout the development. Speaking of team members, if you don't plan on working alone, define your project's scope and goals, and try to determine what you'd like to achieve with your game and the features it should have. Make sure your goals are realistic and achievable, so everybody on your team knows exactly what to expect from your roadmap. But if you like to work alone, that's fine. It's still important to stay organized so that your project doesn't feel so overwhelming in the long run. There are plenty of ways to organize a plan, and it's best that you use what works for you. But now it's time to move on to the last important part, publishing. Marketing is one of the most important aspects of getting your game noticed by potential players. And it's not just about creating a great game, but also about promoting it effectively. If you're here, I assume you don't have a big budget for marketing. But don't worry, there are still plenty of ways to get the word out about your game. There are tons of hidden masterpieces that just don't see the light of day because it wasn't promoted properly. One of the great ways to promote your game that a lot of other games do is creating a social media account. Using that social media account, you can show the behind the scenes and screenshots of your game's progress. And engaging with your followers and being active on social media can hopefully create a small fan base for your game. Another thing you can do is share updates and short GIFs of your game on Reddit or Twitter. A single GIF can bring so much attention to your game. You can also consider running a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for your game, generate buzz on platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. The game that I'm showing in the background is one of my most popular games. It's a game called BreakAction. The main theme of BreakAction is that it mimics real-life paintball and an indoor paintball field. BreakAction was originally posted on February 17th, 2022, and it currently has 46,000 visits on Rec Room. It has been in one of Rec Room's major events. The event was called Winter Invasion Event. And as I'm making this video, I'm actually planning on getting into another invasion event. And Evernight, my other game that I showed as an example in the beginning of the video, won a small reward for a contest. The theme for that contest was Solstice. I could go on about game design forever, and I've done my best to condense a little of everything into these few minutes. I'm by no means a professional, but I've done this for years and I'd like to learn a lot more about VR game design, and how you can improve it for the future of gaming. If you have any questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer what I know.